When you apply an audio effect in Vegas, whether you apply it to an event on your timeline, to an audio track, or to your entire movie, an audio effects option screen will open. As with a similar video effects option screen, this screen allows you to customize your effect using sliders or other settings, or by selecting from a library of presets. In addition, on this panel, several audio effects can be applied at once in a chain. Let's see how it works. We have placed a simple clip, a simple audio-only clip on our timeline, and it is simply me reading from A Tale of Two Cities.
It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity.
And we're going to apply some effects to it. To launch the plugin chooser, where we will select our audio effect for this particular clip or this particular event on our timeline, I'm just going to click on our little event effects button right there in the lower right-hand corner of any event on your timeline. And I can select from the list of plugins or from the list of effects for my audio. In this particular case, let's start off with reverb. Reverb is sort of an echo sound, and we'll apply it. And when we do, we get the audio event effects screen. I'm going to just hold the control key so it doesn't drop into any of these windows and just move it off to the side here. And we can play a little bit of my timeline. The effect has been applied to the clip, but it's at its default mode. And we can change those settings by moving these sliders here for dry out, reverb out, and early out. Or it's usually most simple to just select from the preset menu. And I'm going to select from the preset menu, and we're going to select, for instance, very long haul. And you'll be able to hear the very long haul settings for our reverberation applied to this clip. Let's press L to play.
It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity.
So we can choose from there either long haul, dense room, bright room, cathedral. And sometimes using the presets is the easiest way to use a number of these effects.
It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness.
You have the option of applying as many effects as you want to an individual clip, to an individual track, or to your master control. To add to your effects, you create what's called a chain, and you can see up in the upper left-hand corner of the audio event options screen, you see reverb is listed there, and we can add to that chain if we'd like. So let's go back here to our plugin chooser, and we'll add to our plugin chain. Our plugins are another word that Sony uses to describe their effects because they could be plugged into the program. You can buy third-party plugins, add them to the program, and they become part of the program's default special effects sets. So we can add, for instance, time stretch. Now, time stretch is not going to change the speed of the playback. It's just going to change the sound of the playback. And to add it to the chain, we simply click the Add button, and you can see the chain building in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. We'll also choose the parametric equalizer, add that, and then we click OK once we build our chain, and you can see now we have several effects applied to what's on our timeline here. Now, we can listen to these effects one at a time, or we can listen to how they're applied when they're all mixed together. If I want to disable effects, I can uncheck the box here. They're still applied, but we won't hear them applied to our clip on the timeline or our event. I just want to focus on time stretch now, and you can hear that time stretch, like I say, does not literally speed up the clip as you would with the time stretch controls if you expand or collapse an event on your timeline, but it does affect the sound of it so that it sounds faster or it sounds slower. So here's one that makes it sound a little bit faster.
It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness.
And this one should make it sound a little bit slower.
It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness.
Now, a lot of times with, say, the parametric effect, you might be interested in getting certain sounds. For instance, you can cut off certain levels. We can cut off, for instance, the bass sound, and we can get a sound that sounds a little bit like someone speaking telephone. It's called the phone line effect.
It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness.
Now, we can play, like I say, our effects one at a time, or we can enable them all and see how they mix together. This is kind of a strange mix here. I don't know if I'd actually use reverb, time stretch, and parametric equalizer at the same time. But sometimes, whether you're working in video or audio, not only does it matter which effects you have applied, but the order they're applied can also change how the mix works. So if I drag reverb here to the end, it may sound completely different than when I dragged reverb here to the beginning. You can remove any effect from the chain simply by selecting it, as I did here with reverb, and clicking on this little button here, remove selected plugin. You can see now our chain has gotten a little smaller. We remove time stretch. Now we only have the parametric equalizer added to it. So you can add and build your chain. This is true for video effects as well as audio effects. And you can reorder it. How the effects affect each other is very, very dependent on the order they appear in your chain. You can add several audio effects to the same event. You can add several audio effects to the same track, several audio effects to the same movie, and the order you arrange them in can actually change how they sound together. You can add, remove, or disable any number of effects on your clip, and with Vegas's collection of audio plugins, you can simply fine-tune your movie's audio, or you can create an unusual audio special effect.